What's up, guys? Welcome to NMD TV K's all day. If you're rocking with the you know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss out on a video. Interview with Coach Mario Cristobal from the Joe Rose Show after the Clemson game. Let's listen to what he has to say. I'm sure he's going to say, let's get back to work, this and that. But if you want to listen to the full interview without my opinion in it, click the link in the description. I'll make sure it's there. Let's go.
Coach, I got to figure out how to turn my own mic on. I messed up. That was on me. All right, so I wanted to ask you, 98 total yards. You go back and you look at the tapes. What were some of – is it more physical? Is it the mistakes of not being able to have more offense and you're able to get in the game, Coach? What do you see when you watch the tapes?
Well, the first part, the combination of the line of scrimmage and being able to execute. They did some things that – created a few problems for us up front with movement and pressure. And then some of the opportunities that we had, the first coverage that they blow on one of our plays, we don't hit it, and when we do scramble and get out of there for a little bit, we get penalized for a blindside block and we put ourselves behind the sticks. That's a tough operation to be successful against when you're behind the sticks on down distance situations. We didn't do a good enough job as coaches, as players. We just didn't do a good enough job.
I think there's a camp of people who just want to say, okay, the offense is terrible. It's all Josh Gattis' fault. Then there's a group of people who want to say these players aren't good. They're not executing. When in reality, it's a little bit of both. The offense is terrible, and it's not all one person's fault. It's everybody's fault. It's the coach's fault. It's the player's fault. I will say there are times where they make a play call or they do some things as coaches that's puzzling. And there's times where there are players wide open like Xavier Restrepo and we don't hit them, or we get the first down and Jalen Knighton crack blocks a guy, which is not legal in college football anymore, or Ja'Cory throws the ball deep when Will Mallory's wide open in the flats and he could run. So everybody wants a scapegoat. Everybody wants one villain, when the reality of when you only can put up 98 yards, it's a lot of people's fault.
It's crazy. I mean, game's 26-10, and you have the ball, and I'm going, you know what? I know they don't have a lot of offense, but boy, they keep getting the ball back here. This thing could get interesting. What was going through your mindset when it's 26-10, you got the ball back?
And I do want to say this because I know I didn't talk about the game much afterwards. 26-10, and we got the ball back. This team did keep fighting. We got to give them, because I thought we were going to get blown out at halftime. We fought back. We were actually in the game in the second half.
Coach?
Well, we were down at halftime. It was real simple. It's like, let's make sure that you put on tape, that we put on tape what we really are when we're down. You just keep fighting, you keep getting after it. And like you mentioned, we crossed the 50, we have the ball, got a chance to make it a one-score game. We take a shot, was close to hitting it, we didn't hit it. And then we had a penalty and we had a sack. And then from there it got away from us, but we gave ourselves a chance. And in terms of that, it was good. It was good to see fight. It was good to see resilience. It was good to see guys battling against a very talented team. They've done a great job putting together that roster. They really have. I mean, from top to bottom, those are legitimate, real-deal dudes on both sides of the ball. And we just kept trying to find a way to get something going. We weren't able to. After that, we turned the ball over in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter.
So one left. Do you go Garcia-Brown combo this week? What's your mindset for this last game going into it, Coach?
Well, studying tape all, Saturday on the flight back, and then yesterday and this morning, we just got to find whatever gives us the best opportunity to score, right? Obviously, we've had our issues, and you just don't throw people under the bus, man. You keep trying to find a way to make it work. A lot of guys are playing football right now that should probably still be developing, and that's okay. Make excuses. You get guys ready. You work hard, develop, and prepare, and give yourself the best chance on Saturday.
A lot of people were upset with them taking Ja'Cory Brown out in the second half, and we only got 98 yards of offense, so I'm not going to tell anybody not to be upset with any decisions that were made offensively. I feel like one against Pittsburgh and in this bowl game, it needs to be all Tricuri Brown. He needs to be our quarterback. We need to ride with him. Last night or Saturday night against a team that was teeing off on Brown, I understood taking him out the game, letting him say, okay, hey, you gave it a shot. You're still developing. Sit down on the bench. Let's throw Jake in there and let you see the game from the sideline. So you got to play in the game and you got to look on the sideline, and Brown can really learn from that game rather than keeping him out there and getting his confidence destroyed. Because when I see Jake Garcia play, I see a player who his confidence just isn't there like it was when he first got on campus. And I think they don't want that to happen to Brown.
I know I get this, and I'm sure you get it too. Oh, this Josh Gaddis, this offensive coordinator, and the play calling, he's not getting it done with that style. He needs to change it a little bit. What do you say? I know you make everybody, responsible for what they do. What are your thoughts on offensive coordinator Josh Gaddis and his play calling, Coach?
Well, I mean, to me, you don't share certain things out in public. You always try to work things out, within the walls of the program. We've done a really good job in hiring coaches that have had tremendous success, at every place that they've been at. We've had our offensive struggles, but we put that on all of us, Joe. You just don't start singling out people and isolating people, during the season. That's not it. I mean, I think people either come together or they unravel, right? And you have to be the example in terms of leadership to the entire organization. So our entire focus is on doing whatever it takes to get one more point than the opponent, whatever that is, okay? Whether things are going well, whether things are not going so well, that's our entire focus, and that's all we talk about.
Mario Cristobal, he's preaching here, right? My mother taught me a lot of life lessons, and there's certain ones that stick with me. And basically, one of the things she used to tell me was, what happens in this house stays in this house. Do not tell anybody what goes on with our family. Don't talk about our family to your friends or anything like that, because it's family business. And Mario just said, we want to be an example to the team. So let's say Mario comes out and says, Josh Gaddis is a terrible OC. We shouldn't have hired him. And after the season, we're going to fire his ass. You talking about family business, right? You're talking about family business outside of the family. Keep that, the negative stuff behind closed doors. That way you and Josh Gaddis can figure things out. That's what happens with a lot of marriages. The husband or wife, they go out and talking to their friends instead of talking to their husband or wife. And then you start getting people in your ear and you can't make the proper decisions to get over an argument or things like that. And then he said, hey, I want to be an example, which means if I go at Josh Gaddis in the media, what is that going to tell my players? That they should go at me in the media? We already got, parents going at the coaching staff in the media. Mario doesn't have to compound on Josh Gaddis. And he said something else that was true. He hired coaches that had success before. Are they the right coaches for Miami? Well, if you look at this season, it's easy to say no. But you cannot take away these guys' resume. I see a lot of people wanting to say Mario is terrible. You can't be terrible when you won 2 Pac-12 championships. How many coaches has won 2 Power 5 conference championships? There's not too many. Winning the Broyles Award. The bottom line, no matter how you want to slice it, dice it, or cut it up, Michigan could not beat Ohio State until they got Josh Gaddis. No matter how you want to write it down, no matter how you want to change history, those are the facts. And people want to talk about Michigan didn't want Josh Gaddis. The truth is, Josh Gaddis was probably going to be the head coach of Michigan if Harbaugh takes the Vikings head coaching job. People don't talk about that. But he went on the interview during National Signing Weekend, I believe, to interview for the Viking jobs. The Michigan was planning on hiring Josh Gaddis, most likely, if Harbs took the Viking jobs. The Vikings said, hell no, we don't want you, Harbs. And Gaddis leaves, blase. Now, am I saying Gaddis is the best coach there is? No, but what I'm saying is we got to stop acting like these coaches didn't build a resume, and when they did do something, when we hired them, we said, oh, we got the Broyles Award. Now we said, oh, the Broyles Awards ain't shit. Come on now. And shout out to Joe Rose, because Joe Rose be asking them questions.
Mario Cristobal, head coach of the Miami Hurricanes football team, joining us right now on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Coach, last couple of weeks and basically this season, we talked a lot about Cam Kinchins, just how the jump he's made and how good he's been playing for the defense. 13 tackles, forced fumble, 2 pass breakups. How much of a jump has he taken since the first day you saw him on campus?
The guy's a relentless worker. I mean, he's only a sophomore, which is incredible. But you see what he does, not only with his body, with his style of play, but what you don't see is what he does behind the scenes. I mean, he's always grinding. He's always studying. He's always finding ways to make others around him better. I mean, he's the kind of guy that can really take a team to another level. With his leadership, he's going to attract guys. You want to surround guys like him with guys like him. Does that make sense? I mean, guys that are all day, right, all night into ball, right, and that can do it and are willing to do it and just don't make any excuses. Guys that really are about this kind of life.
Hey, Cam is that guy. We all know that. We all watch the film. Now we just got to get Cam's attitude, Cam's work ethic, and we got to get it rubbed off on all the other guys on the team. You know, when I think of Cam's tackling, when I really think about this defense, tackling has been better, and Cam is just balling.
I always wondered, the big get a couple years ago with James Williams and the big safety. How's he playing overall for you, Coach?
He's playing well, and he's a good player. And you know what? He's played through injury as well, and he's a really big guy. We ask a lot out of him. I mean, he's a 4-course special teams guy. He's in the box. He's in the middle of the field. He plays off the hash. He plays man coverage. He does a lot, and he's had a real good year so far.
I know I get asked this.
I think James is playing well, especially when you look at the PFF and when you look at different things. People just automatically assume when you're a 5-star, you can't make any mistakes. If you're a 5-star, highly talented, you can't make no mistakes. When this game is built to put our DBs to give the offensive players the benefit of the doubt. So, you know, a wide receiver catches the pass and the safety tackles him 2 yards. People assume that he's not supposed to catch. You know, the receivers aren't supposed to catch anything. James isn't perfect. I would like to see James wrap up. That's my only critique of him, really. That's my only critique of him. What do you guys think about James Williams? The whole shoulder tackling things has to stop, which I really think in the last game it has. You know, I upload highlights on my Twitter, and, you know, the very first game is James coming down to the box, moving the guy out of the way with his hands, making a arm tackle against a good running back in Will Shipley. So I just think we see 1 or 2 plays and we give a player a bad rep, when in totality, when you compare him to other DBs in the nation, he's actually playing that well. Is he perfect? No. He's not. But he's playing pretty good.
Too, I'm running kind of combo of buddy questions as well as stuff that we've seen. Have you already started having talks with guys like, hey man, you know, you're having a good year. You can't let this, you know, let's keep this rolling. Hell, we want you back next year. You're a big part of it. Have you already started having a lot of one-on-one meetings, Coach, even though I know you still have a game left?
You know, you do 2 things, like you mentioned. You keep a balance. You keep your focus on preparing for your opponents, and you also have the responsibility of continuing to construct a roster that is capable of winning at a really, really high level. So, you always maintain honesty and transparency while, there's a professional obligation to continue to build, and that requires being very upfront with everyone in the organization as to what they've done, where the organization is headed, right? And then what is each person's role and what is their projected future role in the organization.
Right.
So it is, you do what you do while you prepare for the game. So you got to balance a good number of things as you head towards this part of the season, with the focal point being on the game at hand.
You must have a pretty good idea. I know there's been some guys already hit the transfer portal on you. You got a pretty good idea, like who you want back, who you expect will come back, and who will probably leave?
There's a lot of players on this team that
you have a good idea of that right now, Coach?
Well, the transfer portal is a two-way street. It allows you to put together a roster that you feel capable of doing what needs to be done and what the expectation is. And that's part of the rules too, NCAA-wise, for first-year coaches. You're allowed to make the moves necessary to supplement your roster both ways, in and out. So now, that being said, you always want to make sure you do right by people, and also making sure that people do right by the program. And that's a two-way street also. This is a business, but it's also It's also amateur to a certain extent, not anymore fully, but it is
sort of
amateur. So we do it the right way, brother. And you know what? It is my responsibility to surround in a perfect, I guess the best way to put it, to surround Cam Kitchens with guys like Cam Kitchens. Does that make sense?
Yep. Oh yeah, no. We get the guys. I think it's pretty clear the guys that do it, that have the talent, that want to be here, that bleed the Miami Hurricanes the way you have and always have with this program. So I got to ask you this one.
And you know what, Joe? There's a good core of guys. There's a good core of guys, and the focus is on winning the game. After that, we'll talk business as it relates to business, very blunt and truthful as it needs to be, right? Because this is a very demanding sport, right? From a student standpoint, from an athletic standpoint, but most importantly is just every ounce of effort has to be into winning this game, always being where our feet are,
Listen, a short answer to everything he just said is there's a lot of players on this team that does not fit the culture, and we're about to get them the hell out the door. There's a lot of players who do not meet my standards, and we're about to get the hell out. We're about to get them out here. But I, Mario Cristobal, I am a leader of men, so I will not do right by these young men, but they won't be wearing a U any longer. And basically what everybody said is this going to be a huge roster turnover. And, we know Cam Kitchens ain't going nowhere, but we need players. We got to surround him. We got to build around him.
And then when the time comes to handle certain things, sometimes it comes up early, like you mentioned, a few cases. And then sometimes there's been plans laid out, which is for later. But every ounce of focus has to be on winning this football game, giving our seniors the best chance to get a W, to extend our season by another game, give ourselves a chance to be in the postseason. Just everything has to be on that.
I was going to say, I know I've been asked this. How important is that? We had this big debate. Oh, Mario probably want to get this thing over. Nah, he'll want to get a look and see the guys in another game. How do you feel about that, trying to get that 6th win and become bowl eligible?
No coach is going to say, this last game isn't important. Mario's about to say these practices are very important.
Every game is critically important. Every single game, and being able to go and win a game against a real good football team like Pittsburgh, it's critically important. Especially to me, it's important for guys that not only want to play another game, not only for the seniors, but for guys that are playing right now that probably should still be developing on the second team or third team, guys that have stepped up for injured guys, right? It's really, really important for those guys to go out there and play a great football game and find a way to have success on Saturday. It's good for them now. It's good for our program. It's good for everybody.
Coach, I got a question. Tyler Van Dyke, any chance to see him in the finale, regular season finale?
Yes, there is a change. He's been getting better and better. Obviously, since I think it was Game 6 or Game 7 when he got when he was injured. Certainly he's a guy that's sorely missed, right? Our season. We started off okay, and then we had some bumps, and then he really got hot for 2 games before he got hurt. And it'd be great. It'd be great to have him back, and he's got a great chance to be back, and we're monitoring that daily.
Well, I think that's just Mario just putting that out there so a coach has to prepare for 3 different quarterbacks. If I'm Tyler Van Dyke, I'm not touching the field anymore. I mean, let's just be honest here.
I got to ask you that then, the follow-up question, because this is the other one I get. Hey, you think Coach Cristobal's talked to Van Dyke about coming back? Man, we really want him back. And I'm going, yeah, I'm guessing coaches probably had a lot of discussions. Quarterbacks and head coaches talk a lot. Have you had those discussions about the future with him, Coach, at all? You don't have to get into detail unless you want to.
Well, stuff like that is private. And when the right time to talk about that will be sooner than later. Right. I prefer in the meantime just to focus on the game, brother. I know I don't want to kill your question. No. I think there's also a level of respect that needs to be maintained. Look, here's the thing, Joe. I think, and I saw this from afar, Miami, staff-wise, has allowed itself to get pushed around and all that junk. And, this is a different deal, man. We came here to do this thing the right way and do right by people, but also elevate this program, and that requires some hard-line decisions and not taking any bullcrap, And so along the way, I think it's important to establish clear lines of respect.
Right.
Mario is talking to the media. Mario is fed up with with certain members of the media. He just said the past coaching staff has got punked by the media. The media begging them to make decisions. The media just trying to push different narratives. And Mario is letting it be known, when I make a decision, I'm going to make the decision. It's not going to be to appease you. It's not going to be to appease you. It's not going to be to appease you. It's going to be to appease the you and to do right for what with these kids. Mario ain't playing with the media. Last week in the media, he straight up said, hey, one day he told one of the reporters, one day you're going to ask a question that's just not all negative driven. And then the other time, he straight up corrected a reporter and said, listen, I don't say this, I say that. Listen, Mario is different than these other coaches.
As it relates to everything program, everything players, everything alumni, all that stuff. And you need to be a tough son of a bitch to do that. So that's why this fits. And that's why this requires every ounce of what I have, the rest of the staff and the players have. And that's the route we're going, brother. Just 1,000 miles per hour, take the lumps that come with it so we can keep moving forward, progressing, and elevating.
Yeah. Coach, I got to ask you this one, too, because the world of college football has changed over the last couple of years. So it used to be the high school recruiting, get the best class possible. And now we're seeing teams, USC. I mean, you've done it. You've got transfer portal guys, too, but some schools have taken it to the next level. Can you talk about your philosophy going forward with high school recruiting, which you're off to a great start, and the transfer portal recruiting as well?
Yeah, whatever means necessary. I think a good example is, I would say take a good look at the roster that we left behind at the former place. I mean, that's a loaded roster.
That's a good roster, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's 4-8 team is winning Rose Bowls and going to win 12 games. And that has a lot to do with, the caliber of talent on the team. The team we just played is loaded top to bottom. I mean, it's hard to find a hole in that roster. So I think if you look at the additions we had this year, particularly on the defensive line and the edge players, man, it would have been nice to be able to do that at a couple of other positions to supplement some of our talent and be able to get over the hump. Our roster is uneven right now in terms of development. You know that.
Yep.
The ice cap is kind of thin, where some are senior-laden and some are not very deep. And you've got to be able to go out and get guys that can not only elevate that position, but also provide competition so you can truly rotate. And that's, we knew, you start in December, January, man, you're in a race, right? You've got to be able to try to get enough guys of the highest caliber, athleticism and intellect and work ethic to try to elevate those positions. We were able to do it at a couple, but not certainly to the level that we want to. And at the same time, develop the guys on the roster because, again, we have a great core group of guys.
Coach, thank you for the time. As always, we'll talk to you next week.
Mario, thank you.
So, guys, I just want to sum this video up by saying this offense this offense got to be fixed. I don't know what Mario's going to do, but the offense has to be fixed. 98 yards is unacceptable. The offense, the whole performance that we put on tape this season is unacceptable. I don't want people to think that I'm out here trying to make people drink the Kool-Aid. I'm just being honest. I really think Mario, listening to him, he's going to get things right. And looking at his reputation, again, looking at what he did at FIU, looking at what he did at Oregon, those places took time, and he got them to places that a lot of people thought that they couldn't get to. And now he's at Miami, first year in too good. But I really believe Mario is that guy. Shout out to Joe Rose, because Joe Rose be asking them the real deal questions, man. And shout out to Mario Cristobal for giving answers, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm out. Peace.